Hello, my excellent friends, and welcome once again to the COGG Let's Play. I am your, I don't know, host. I always feel weird saying host, but I am your something like a host, Caleb Eno. And today, I am joined by my excellent compatriot. Introduce yourself, sir.
Hello, I'm Duke, Smiling Cat Entertainment.
And today we are super excited. So, as you all know, we try to highlight your games. That's one of the things that we most love. As you know, if you're not familiar with COGG, which I'm sure most of you are, but if you're not familiar with COGG, the Central Ohio Game Developers Group is an organization that's all about bringing together people who love to make games. And both Duke and I here, we love to make games. And of course, one of the things that sometimes happen when you love to make games is you make games and you launch them and you have other people play them, which is simultaneously wonderful and terrifying. So this month we are going to be doing a community highlight for a game that Duke just launched. So we're really excited. We're going to get into it. I'd say I'm trying to think through if there are any announcements or anything. Not that I can think of. I will say it is absolutely pouring outside right now. Like all I can hear out the window is just like ton of rain. Yes, I'm excited. Let's do this, Duke. Let's transition into the next slide. Nope, that's the wrong slide. How about this slide? All right, Duke. So why don't you just take a couple minutes here and introduce your game, a little bit about it, and that sort of thing.
Okay. Well, this game is Prepare for Warp. It's a game primarily about obstacle avoidance, as well. That's like its main gameplay mechanic. Secondarily, destroying obstacles that are in your way. Um, so, yeah, kind of the premise behind it is there's no faster than light communication, only faster than light travel. So information has to get from one place to another somehow. So that job falls to couriers. And the way warp technology works is you need to build warp energy by kind of surfing this ribbon in space to gather energy, and the faster you go, the faster that you gather energy until your energy is filled up and you can finally warp to your destination. So,
Awesome. Yeah. So Stellar Couriers. Very good. Uh, I will say that we have seen this game for a while now, and it is a sequel, spiritual sequel, something like that.
I think remaster, reboot.
Okay,
I
remaster
guess
reboot.
it would be more appropriate. Yeah, it was originally a mobile game that was made using tilt controls. And the way I got into kind of rebooting this is last year I was updating all my mobile games to 64-bit, and I was taking a look at this, and it's like, this can be so much more. And I just got started playing with it, started getting really excited about it and everything, adding new systems to it and all. And yeah, all of a sudden it was just a much larger game than it was before.
And I am
And
super
then,
glad for it.
yes. And then we kind of tested it out on still on Android, and we're kind of like Caleb was one of the ones that was talking about this. This could be on Steam. And I was like, he's like,
I,
that's a pretty good idea. So
I did say that, didn't I?
yes. And actually now this is the Steam version is the only official version at this point. The
Okay.
mobile version, after playtesting further on the beta, has officially been discontinued.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, I was just so it requires some fine tuning movements, and I was just like itching for a keyboard. So that's where it came from. But yeah, and this whole remaster thing. I mean, you had several games you were doing this. I know. I'm gonna say the wrong thing because I don't actually know what the name of it is, but it's something like a pinball machine, but it's not a pinball machine. It's Pinko
Yes,
Patinko. What's it called? What's the word?
uh, vintage pachinko.
Pachinko machine. That's what it is. Yes, and I did pick that up, and I had a lot of fun playing that one as well. Um,
Yeah, that's kind of like my little software toy out there on the Google Play Store. Yeah, it's surprisingly for what it is, it sees a pretty steady stream of sales.
that's
Uh,
fantastic.
I mean, even now it's like been what 8, 9 years since I've released it, and I'm still selling like 40, 50 copies a month of it.
Wow, that is really cool. That is really really cool. I did have a lot of fun playing that one as well. It has a very satisfying plink sound. Well, excellent. Well, yeah, I'm excited to get prepared for it. Now, Duke, you've been developing this remaster for a while now, and you have been bringing it around to prototype and play, which is where I first encountered it. Um, and how's that experience been for you? Because I'm curious to kind of like get someone's input who was using prototype and play to actually like prototype a game which they have now launched. I'm curious how that experience was for you.
uh, Yeah, I think it was great, especially the way it was set up. This was happening when we were in like the online
Hmm.
phase of the prototype and play meetings. But I thought it worked really great how we had the different rooms, and the people would just kind of cluster and go amongst the different rooms and try out the games and all. Um, yeah, it was a little easier once I switched over to Steam too, because it was more
Oh yeah.
readily accessible. Demoing the Android version and and kind of showing it was a little tough.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I will say, and this is probably still a little bit on the DL, but we are hoping to be able to provide because we've been switched back to in person for most of our events, and that includes prototype and play. But we're gonna look at what it might be to have in person prototype and play and remote prototype and play. Basically, like keep both of them going, just to see because we get kind of different crowds for both of them, and they're both more useful for different kinds of games too. Kind of to your point. And so there, I think, like obviously, like we had a couple people who wanted to do physical board games, and we just couldn't figure out how you could pull it off really well in on Discord. It just doesn't quite work as well. I think we're wanting to explore what those options could be because I mean, as always, we're trying to provide as many opportunities for people to play each other's games and engage that way. And some people, as we've actually seen, our Discord has grown a lot over the last couple of years, and we have people who live not just like immediately within the vicinity of the Idea Foundry where we usually meet, and some people had to drive 2 hours to make prototype and play, which super grateful people who do that, but also yeah, that's a long drive, and so if we can offer other ways for people to engage, totally want to. So we're thinking through some of those things, and maybe we'll see some online prototype and play come back as well.
Yeah, that sounds good because yeah, that's a good point with the geography not being a limitation with the online events,
Yeah,
and it kind of gives you a wider reach, I think.
totally. All right. Well, yeah. So, just so that it is said very explicitly, the game Prepare for Warp that we were about to show you and play off is available now on Steam. Prepare for Warp Unlimited Edition Beyond Insanji. It is available since August 4th, and please go pick it up, go grab it. We're going to show off some of what the game has to offer. But I will say this. Though there's quote unquote not much to it, the experience of playing it is what I have found to just be super rich. It's one of those great, like, I need a break real quick. I'm going to go play around and then I'm going to go back to what I was doing kind of a game.
I've termed it an arcade sensory experience.
Yes, yes. Now, you mentioned arcade. So you have an actual arcade of this, right?
Yes, I have a arcade cabinet that I put together in my home, and this is, of course, featured on it.
That is so cool. I would love to see it someday. Maybe at a future GDEX.
Possibly. There's some logistics with hauling a large arcade cabinet
Oh,
around
I'm
like that.
sure. I'm sure. Absolutely. Um, awesome. All right. Well, let's go ahead and move into. Here we go. Nope, that's the wrong one again. Transition and. Okay. It looks like I'm going to wait until I see it pop up here. Um, and anyone who is on the stream, feel free to say hi. And this is one of those cool opportunities where we actually have the developer of the game sitting here with us. So if you have any questions or are you interested in learning anything more, asking specific questions about the design process or philosophy, please do. I know I have some questions about building for mobile in Unity that I would be curious to know more about. So hopefully we can talk through that during our time, Duke.
Sure.
Okay. Oh, we're missing a very important piece. La music. All right. So, here is Prepare for Warp. You get this beautiful splash screen, Smiling Can't Entertainment right before this. And you're also pulling the Steam username, I believe, and displaying that at the bottom.
Yes.
So, excellent. Let's go ahead and just dive right into it. Best thing to do probably is to start, as they say, at the very beginning. So basic introduction. So we have the menu here. There's lots of options and various things, including, just as an aside, an incredibly robust statistics board that's just got like everything on here. It's very robust, which I appreciate as a game designer, seeing all of the stats. I think that's pretty cool. But we start at the very beginning, and I will point out the name of the mission, Tutorak. Duke, you have just done a spectacular job of working in these little fun things into the names of the different planets. I really enjoy it.
Thank you.
And let's see, there were some of these do some of these have additional descriptions? Was it just main exports? That's what I was thinking of. Yes. It was like have no effect whatsoever on the gameplay, but are just nice little flavor elements. And of course, Nubius. That was great. But hey, we love a good tutorial around here. Let's go ahead and jump into the tutorial. Now, at the point I've played in the game, I am a little bit further beyond. That might be some thunder. Did that come through the mic?
Hard to tell.
Okay, well maybe not good. That's good. My ship is rather developed at this point, but we'll go back and show what it looks like when you start out. But we'll just go ahead and jump into the tutorial here. Steer left and right to avoid obstacles. And that's pretty much it. Warp energy is the purple bar at the top, and the speed bar, and so that's your total overall speed. And I think you mentioned this in the intro, Duke, that the faster you're going, the more your warp energy fills, correct?
Correct.
But it is a gamble, because sometimes there are power-ups that can slow you down, and because sometimes it's advantageous to go a little bit slower depending on how crazy things are.
Exactly.
So we have hull and shield, so these are pretty standard, what you expect. Shield recharges over time, absorbs damage. Hull does not recharge over time, and if you hit zero hull, you make a very spectacular kaboom. And here come the asteroids. Yes, the ship right now, my ship is shooting lasers. This is really interesting. I kind of want to ask you where this came out. So this is, I feel like a lot of games like this would have you, the player, manually control your lasers, right? That you would fire them, and then that would how you would make the decision to, clear the way. How did you come to the decision for an automated laser system?
Well, that was honestly, it was kind of born out of the mobile version of it, where you kind of have the limited controls.
Sure, yeah. All right, just jump. Yeah. Oh, that's really interesting because, of course, you wouldn't have an additional
Right.
input necessarily, or if you would, you have to like move the phone back and forth and then also tap at the same time. And yeah, I can see where that. Did you have a version of it where you did have to do something like that?
No, it never. I mean, that was originally what I had set out to do, but then I very quickly discovered that just trying to control it on touch screen was not a good experience. So yeah, it didn't evolve very far at all.
Very interesting. That's neat. I'm always fascinated by the idea that constraints breed creativity. So when you have a limit to what you're capable, like a device, like a mobile device, you have so fewer choices than on, say, like a controller or a keyboard or a mouse, and so you have to be a lot more creative with your solutions. And I think it came out really well.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the same game if you had to like target each individual asteroid.
Agreed.
I think that's for sure.
Absolutely agreed. Yes, so you have your concluding screen here, and you get a series of score items based on your performance, and then that gets converted into Argent, which is the base economic currency. That's the word I'm looking for. All right. So that's Tutorek. That's the basic introductory. It's nice, short, simple, sweet, to the point. There's not it's not a super complex mechanic. You've got left and right, basically, and so it's nice, simple, straightforward, to the point. It takes you less than a minute to complete, or a minute and 34 seconds apparently, and that's it. So I like that. It gets you right into the game. So let's go ahead.
Yeah, I think.
Go ahead.
I think you remember it used to be a little more extensive, like a lot more screens and everything. And yeah, it was just, I think you were one of the ones that pointed out that it was just too much all at once. And
right.
Yeah, I kind of trimmed it back and just kind of relying on the player intelligence to figure the rest out through experimentation, which is how games are played.
Yeah, totally. And actually, just to run it through one more time, because we talk a lot about tutorials because tutorials become so critical of an experience point, and it's so easy to create tutorial pages that are just blocks of text. That's especially the way we see a lot of games through prototype and play, or just at GDEX, or games that are earlier on in their development life cycle, and just big pages of text. And it's always like, how can we? And iconography is hard too. Like it's not easy to communicate through pictures because there's a lot of room for miscommunication. And so with text you can sometimes be more precise. But if you can get the right picture to communicate, the picture is worth 1,000 words, or that. If you get the right picture, it can really be super effective. And so, like, looking at your tutorial here, it's a nice, big, super in the middle of everything, simple. You got 2 sentences. With a very simple steer left and right to avoid obstacles. And you do have a little bit of that mobile experience in there still, with kind of like the tilting arrows. But then you have like 2 kinds of arrows, and I think that it effectively kind of communicates arrows. It's very straightforward. And then you have warp and speed energy, 2 sentences, very clear, and the text is large and readable. And then again, 2 sentences, very readable, and then that's it, and you're done. And it's really nice and clean. Obviously, it is a little bit easier when your mechanic is something simple. And like the studio that I work for cares a lot about RPGs, and so RPGs have a lot of more complex interwoven systems, and so how do you communicate those systems is a big challenge. But yeah, I think giving your players just enough to kind of keep the ball rolling, that's good. And there are more systems to your game in here. Like there's more things going on and more things you can do. But in order to play the first couple levels, you don't need to know about any of those.
Right.
Excellent. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and move on to Nubius. I'll just play a couple of these briefly, and actually, I'm trying to decide what to do here. So I could kind of. Do you think I should show one of the bigger ones right now, or do we think I should just prestige and start over and show it from the beginning? What do you think?
Yeah, let's go ahead and show one of the later levels,
Okay.
and then because once we prestige, we're not going to see the really crowded levels for a minute.
Well, how about we do Insanji, since it's the titular level.
Yes.
And this is the level around which kind of a lot of the core mechanics of the game hinge.
Yes, this was the original final level in the first version of the game.
There are 50 now, right?
Yes.
And have you beat 50 before?
I have. Although I found it, I was able to march through the last levels way too quickly, so I rebalanced them. And at this point, I'm up to level 40.
Okay, gotcha. All right. All right, so this is Insanji. There's a little bit more going on here. And one of the things that we'll see is power-ups. So that's a thing that we haven't actually seen yet. Those will just be nice little, very bright, glowing items on the ground, and you fly over them to pick them up. There's little laser bars that you have to avoid. Oh yes, and we have enemies. So the UFOs come in and they shoot missiles at you, and it's actually really interesting because while the UFOs are on screen, this talking and doing this is actually very challenging. While they're on screen, your laser is preoccupied with bringing them down, right?
Correct.
And so you lose. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So that's one of the challenges. The real danger of the bomber, I mean, it poses two different dangers. One, it's the direct danger of the missiles. And again, yes, when the bomber is out, your defense is lowered because your laser is distracted trying to eliminate that threat.
Ooh, that hurt. I do like the subtle screen shake when you hit things as well.
Yeah, that was added pretty late in the development process. It was one of those things that after I added, is like, why didn't this have it the whole time?
Whoop! There was another enemy. What's one of those called? Are those?
Yeah, those are the fighters.
Fighters. Okay.
Yeah. Fighters and bombers are like the two intelligent enemies in the game.
And they apparently just don't like mail getting delivered.
Oh, who knows what is in what you're delivering?
That's true. Who knows? So this is a friendly ship that I'm behind right now. And they show up every so often. And they can give you additional items. It reminds me a lot of the old... oh shoot! What's this? Spy Hunter? Is it Spy Hunter?
Yes.
Where
exactly.
the truck would show up and you could get on the truck to regain your health, or I think it would give you back your car if you turned into a motorcycle.
That is kind of where that mechanic was. The inspiration for that mechanic was Spy Hunter.
And it's...
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I do talk about it like on my blog a couple weeks ago. I was talking about like some of the influences that went into this game, and that was one of the ones that I cited.
I actually remember playing, there was a Spy Hunter remake way back. I mean, Spy Hunter is obviously way, way back, but and actually I remember really enjoying it. And it had the same thing, like you'd run into the truck, and then you could... Sometimes it would give you a new ability depending on the level, and sometimes it would... Ooh! But I do I like it because it gives you that moment of respite.
Yes. Oh.
Ooh, there we go. I am now beyond Insanji.
Oh
Yes.
my.
So there's a couple of other things that you may have noticed going on in there. So for starters, you'll see that there's a dark matter on the list, so we'll explore this more after we do a prestige, but that's a secondary currency, the special currency, that you can collect, mostly from the fighters and the friendly ship drop those, correct?
The dark matter you can get a few different ways. One is by destroying the fighters. Yes, the ally will drop it at times, and then the third way is by evading space mine explosions with your evasion/loop.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that. That's really cool. I usually just move out of the way of those. Okay. That's neat. Okay. I need to try that at some point then. Yes, so I direct the viewer's attention also to the right panel, where all of the nice glowy icons are. So there are actually a series of additional abilities that you can unlock, and they're actually based on a consumable system, but they end up not being very expensive after you get past the first couple of levels. But you only get one of the WASD abilities per round, and then you have missiles on the left shift and the loop-de-loops that Duke was mentioning on the space key. And you can actually continue to upgrade those. The missiles have two axes of upgrades. It's how many shots you get, and then how many missiles are generated for each shot.
Correct.
But the W gives you speed boost, the A recharges your shields, the D stops you, like full stop almost, and then S is a super laser charge. You can also pick up the red crystals. You can actually see one just up the ways a little bit there, which will then give you more charge for your super laser. So you have a set of abilities that you can use in order to overcome, and sometimes, man, it really feels like you need those, or you're just like, yeah, do a loop-de-loop, and the loop-de-loop makes you kind of impervious to being damaged for a little bit. Well, let's go ahead and prestige then. And yeah, we should probably talk through some of this too. So we have the ship upgrades, which we'll actually be doing here in a minute. So we'll go through that then. Same thing with dark matter upgrades. We'll be doing some of those, so we'll talk through it then. We do have, you can get different ships, shield colors. There's a whole lot of cool customization stuff. And dude, you completely revamped this at least once from the past, right?
Yes. Yeah, it used to be like way back in the mobile version that it was just Argent to unlock the ship upgrade. But yeah, now I've put it behind the components. There's a system of ship components that they get dropped by the ally, one per level. You get it once if you replay the level. You don't get the same the component from that level again until you prestige. You still there?
Oh, I'm here. Yep, sorry. I clicked away from the screen.
Okay. So yeah, so now and you have to collect 4 different components to get to get a ship upgrade, and they all start with a particular letter, and it's kind of a throwback to some of the old, again, arcade games like Mr. Do or others, where you would, collect power-ups, that spell a word or something, and then you would get an extra life or something like that. So it was actually a lot of work to come through and come up with 4 different words that work together, kind of describe, like with this, it's LITE, light, for like the laser color. And
I'll bet.
Me and my wife actually both worked on this one. It was a bit of a word puzzle. Wrote a program to kind of, work on it, help work on it for me, generate word combinations. So in the end, you end up with a system where most of the letters are used on exactly 2 ship parts, or exactly 2 different words, and then there's ones that are used on just 1 word. So you kind of get a frequency distribution there, and the drops are actually tuned to kind of match that frequency distribution. So you're always assured that if you play enough levels, you will get what you need to unlock the ship part you want.
So this is the default ship here.
Yes.
And then you have there's 2 other versions, and I unlocked this one, which I think this is my favorite. It looks really cool. Though I did contemplate getting this one for a while too.
And the second 2, the upgraded 2, those are made by our community member here, Arvex.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, awesome.
So he did those for me.
Great collab. They just look really great. I love it.
Yes, I'm really happy with how those turned out.
Let's see.
And all those blinking light effects and everything, that's all done in the shader.
Nice.
All like the engine glow and all that. That's all done in the shader. Your CPU is not chewing on any of that.
Beautiful. Very, very cool. Yeah, you've mentioned that you've done a lot of work to optimize this game.
Yeah, and again, a lot of that was from from mobile, where it has to be really optimized. Totally. But it carries over well to here, because this plays on such a potato of a PC. It's the PC that's in my arcade cabinet is literally 15 years old, and this the frame rate just still never drops on this.
That's amazing. That is so cool. Yeah, I was streaming a game a couple days ago for a different thing, and it was I've got a 4K monitor here, and so I've got my game running at 4K monitor at like maximum settings. It is pushing my computer to its limit while I'm trying to stream. And man, like my office is like the furthest room away from the air conditioning in the house, and it was just roasting. Man, it was so warm. Nice and cool right now though. It does, like, my computer doesn't even bother it whatsoever. I love that. It can run on a potato. Excellent. It just makes me think of GLaDOS and Portal 2.
Yeah.
Excellent. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna jump all the way back to the beginning. We're gonna kind of play it from the start. Not really, for reasons, but what we're going to do here is you give the player the ability to what we call retire and prestige. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, well, this is the kind of game where as you try to progress through the levels, you will hit a wall, and that is okay. The upgrades will just seem to cost way too much to unlock in like your lifetime or whatever, and or the difficulty will just shoot through the roof to where you can't you just can't cope. But that's what the retirement and prestige system is for. That kind of it's kind of like trying to show like building a legacy. like a multi-generational legacy. Like how society builds, like each generation in society builds on the generation before, and that's kind of what I wanted to reflect here with this system. So with what you achieve, like your high score, the achievements you earn, and later on a couple other things, you get awarded, your entire career kind of boils down to a prestige score that you gain. And you can see here, this pilot, Tudzrn II, his career amounts to 8 prestige. Now, once he retires and a new pilot is picked, you can take that prestige and kind of spend it on upgrades that change the rules a bit. They either like reduce damage, or it will give you more money, or it will reduce the rate at which the cost of things go up, or it'll let you start on a later level to save time. There's a few different ones. So, and at that point, you kind of you do this enough times, and going deeper into the game gets easier and easier.
Yeah, so we'll have to go through some of the options. I'm curious what your thoughts are on some of these, but yes, let's go ahead. I've got some people to pick from here. So you always get a roll of 3 people to pick from for your next pilot, right?
Yes.
And so go ahead.
There are 256 pilots.
Okay.
For reasons.
All right.
Yeah. Their abilities are essentially a 8-bit, 8-bit value. 2 abilities, 4-bit, 16 different abilities to choose from.
Gotcha. Awesome. Well, I'm gonna go with Zumurian here. All right, we're gonna retire. Hold for a second. Oh, that's the wrong enter one. There we go. Boom. All right. Back to our start screen. Come in here. You inherit the same ship, so your ship is all the same, except all of your ships upgrades are back to 0. But now I have these 8 prestige points that I can spend. There's a whole pile of things that I could spend on. The thing that I seem to have spent the most on is galactic deflation. So that reduces the curve of ship upgrades.
Yes.
Do you think that this is a valuable one?
This might potentially be the most valuable one.
Gotcha. Okay. So I wasn't off the mark. Okay, good. Yeah, I did get a couple of these ones. I feel like these two kind of work in tandem, so you get more money and also things cost less.
Right. Yeah, and the first 2 kind of work in tandem. If you advance your starting level too far without, having initial money to spend, you kind of end up in a world of hurt.
Ooh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I've done a couple of these too. I did one of these, but I don't actually have any idea what it does. I guess it just a flat reduction of damage.
Just flat damage reduction.
Okay, gotcha. And then more missiles and volleys.
Yeah, this will increase both those axes that you were talking about earlier.
Right. And dark matter drops, which I've gotten a couple of those too. And this one's really interesting. See, I'm not 100% understand how this works.
Yeah, so for every level you buy into it, you get 1 automatic prestige at retirement.
Okay. Gotcha.
So it's kind of like a really long-term investment. It does take a long time to pay off, especially beyond a few levels, but that's kind of intentional.
Gotcha. Time drink.
Yeah, and this...
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, this one is kind of interesting. As you get deeper into the game, I mean, you'll get to places where you'll want to kind of maybe grind a little on the level, and this is kind of to alleviate the tedium of that grind a bit, the different modes, because what those will do is that they'll up each of the different modes will up the ante a little bit in a different way and give you the opportunity to earn earn Argent at a faster rate in exchange for that risk. So it kind of keeps things interesting when you need to replay levels.
And I agree with that. I've played some of the challenge levels when I wanted to grind a little bit, and they do add a different flavor to the experience, and I appreciate that. I think there have been a couple times because you have to reach certain checkpoints to unlock the 2 challenge levels, and I've definitely been like, because you have to get a certain distance to unlock the infinity mode, right?
That one's a score.
It was a certain score. Okay, a certain score. And I know I've reached the prepare for like the warp point, but I haven't quite hit the score yet. So I'm like pushing a little bit further. Yeah, that's great. Okay, and then you do have an option to basically undo all of your prestige points so you can respec if you want to.
Yeah, this isn't meant to be something that's spammed, which is why it has pretty high cost. I mean, a little bit later in the game where you're going to be thinking about using this, 250 dark matter isn't really like an outlandish amount. You can get that like in a couple of plays.
Yeah.
But then when you do buy this respec, it will double in cost, and then it will eventually reset to its original cost each time you retire. It's essentially there's it doubles, and then it takes 3 retirements for it to return to normal.
I see. Okay. Cool. Well, let me put some more stuff in. Let me actually get another one of these. And about go with flat damage reduction.
Always good.
All right, so we are back to Nubius, and we'll start out from the beginning here. So this is the ship now with 0 upgrades, and I don't even have a laser. So the first very beginning, no laser, and it's so slow.
Yeah. So sometimes I and I'm not sure. Yeah, it kind of like the one that lets you start at a later level helps with this. But yeah, like after the excitement of playing a late level and then prestiging and facing a really slow level like this, it's like, yeah, sometimes like I get if like a few levels is okay, I'm done for now. So prestiging can be a little bit of a flow killer, but yeah. I guess I'm trying.
I mean, I get that. I think though, it doesn't really last that long. Like you get the first couple of upgrades to your ship, which you get reasonably quickly, and then you're good. So I don't think it's that bad. There we go. Got some margin. And you also have this internal achievement system, which is different than like an external achievement system, like a Steam Achievements or PS Awards. Talk through that achievement system a little bit.
Yeah. Well, there's 2 kind of levels of achievements. There's like the achievements that apply to the specific pilot that you're on. So those will reset every time that you prestige, and yeah, achievements are a part of how you earn prestige too. So that kind of, you go through and re-earn those achievements and get prestige from that. And then there's the ones that are more permanent, for kind of, cross-pilot achievements. And those ones actually translate to Steam achievements.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah,
and those will persist beyond retirement.
I've got a couple of those. Let me see if I can find them. They're all the way at the bottom, right?
Yeah, and there's a few fun ones in there too.
Yes, no, I've gotten with this one. This one's really fun.
Yeah,
Uh,
public spectacle. Yeah,
fail colorfully in front of watching eyes, which just sort of happened, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I won't tell you how to get it. You have to go find it for yourself. But this was a fun one to get.
the hints are there on how to get it.
Oh, totally. The hints are there, but I'm also not going to tell them how to do it. They have to go do it for themselves. Yeah. So there's a bunch of these fun ones here. Yeah. Yeah, I've got one, at least. That's great though. Yeah. So let's go ahead and roll. So right. So this is another thing too, is whenever you beat a level, in order to get to the next place, you have to unlock it by purchasing the route. So that is a consideration, and sometimes you kind of get to the next level, you unlock it, and you don't really have enough money for more upgrades, and you're like, well, okay. And then you get destroyed because it was a good leap in difficulty. But I'm going to go unlock this one. Definitely get... I always get handling first. That's my favorite. Oh, wow, I can get 4 levels of handling. It'd be amazing. That is the prestige thing that I put the points into, affecting things there, isn't that?
Yeah, the inheritance, giving you starting money and dark matter to start out.
Oh yeah. All right, so Pilophyte, space deck feather exporter. Oh yeah, here's my zoomy zoom back. Also, so this was a fun thing. So I had played this quite a bit, and then I saw you bring this to Prototype and Play maybe a month or two ago. Mm-hmm. And I was watching you play and trying to kind of like, how does the master do this, you know? And I picked up something that you were doing that I definitely wasn't doing like at all. I was not emphasizing or prioritizing my super laser. And I watched you, and you were doing that a lot. And I was like, I need to think about that and change my strategy some. And that was pretty fun. Like when I started switching up the strategy I was using.
Yeah, I've tried to play through with like a number of different strategies, because that's the only way you're going to reveal, like if you have some sort of hidden breakage in your system, some kind of exploit or something. Absolutely.
Ooh, this shield is super weak. Ouch.
Yeah, I'm noticing a bug there.
Oh no.
On the achievement toast.
Alright, let's get to next.
Oh.
What?
Okay. Oh, never mind. Never mind.
Like, what'd I break?
I thought something was broken, but it's not.
Alright, get some shield recharge, get some hull, get my lasers. Start getting my lasers going. Missiles. Alright. And an engine. There we go. Yeah, see, but once you kind of get through Prestige a couple of times, picking up the new stuff isn't so bad.
Yeah.
My one little piddly laser. Ooh, that was... And the levels keep getting a little bit longer, too.
Yes.
And as they do, like, I've been in, like, the last quarter of a level before. And it's just, like, in the zone. Because you're like, I've been in a level for 5 minutes and I'm super invested. I just want it to win. And I've lost just before the end, too. Alas. Yet too many things happen at the same time.
I'm still seeking after that closest fave achievement. Gotten really close. Gotten 997 out of 999 on that.
Now, what is that achievement?
That's for like finishing a level with very little hole left.
Okay. These ones go so fast. I'm used to the longer levels.
Yeah.
You got some dark matter coming in too, so we'll show off some dark matter. So dark matter, as we said, was the secondary currency. You can purchase it with Argent, though it goes up every time that you purchase it with Argent.
Yep.
Let's see. What should I get? Some laser boosting. Some of these. Yeah. And you can get these. These are continuum regenerations. They're basically just, you can reload and go again. Some of the description of these are great. I mean, some of them are just like very straightforward and here's the numbers you need to know. But when you don't need to know those, you get like some flavor text, which I think adds a lot. Let's go with, grab all of these, lock my next level, do more lasers, some more missiles, more engines. All right. Love the music. And that was the thing that changed too, right? You used to have the music, you could kind of pick whichever one you wanted, right?
Yes.
And then you tied them to actual levels.
Right. And also the music switches up. Like every time like the sector changes, every sector change, the music refreshes and switches up.
That's right. Yep. So okay, so this is an interesting question. So obviously this is procedurally generated. You didn't lay every single one of these asteroids,
right?
So you have some kind of algorithm governing how many and how often and what kinds. When you actually, so you have 51, I guess, levels in the game. How do you build out your levels? Like, do you actually have different scenes for each one of them, or do you just have a controller that's grabbing some data?
Yeah, just a controller that's grabbing some data. Yeah, there's just kind of like there's an obstacle generator. Like actually, all the actual game code is kind of in some model classes. It's not hanging on mono behaviors and everything. That's kind of a design that I use in my games, like whenever I can, just to like not tie myself to one technology too much. So all the obstacle generation and everything is actually taking place well away from the Unity code.
Interesting. Is there a performance reason for that as well?
Not really a performance reason, no.
Okay. Just
Although
keeping things pure C# until they have to be not pure C#.
right, and kind of separation of responsibilities, you know, keeping the UI separate from the game logic. So I have like a game state that like just describes the positions and velocities and everything of all the objects, all the various obstacles. And then I have a series of manager mono behaviors that read from that game data and will spawn prefabs and just pretty much use the prefabs as an avatar. And then those avatars know how to, like on collisions and everything, know how to feed back into the game model.
Gotcha. Okay. So does your game model, do you just have one model per type and then it kind of keeps track of all of the things that are like all of the asteroid prefabs, or do you have sort of instantiating a different model for each object?
Yeah, each like obstacle does have its own class, but they all inherit from a like obstacle base class, so they share a lot of code. And then yeah, like I have a obstacle renderer that basically has an array of prefabs, and every obstacle just kind of says what index prefab it uses.
Gotcha. Okay.
And of course, that's all like behind object pools and everything else too. Part of the optimization for mobile is this thing. There's almost no memory allocation going on while you're playing right now.
That's incredible. You gotta show me how to do that someday. When you built the shaders, are these like shaders written from code, or are you using Unity's new shader graph?
This is still standard render pipeline, so
Okay.
yeah, no shader graph. So yeah, it's yeah, the shader lab code.
I've seen some of those before. I've like used other people's shaders that I've then kind of lifted the hood up and poked at before, and it scares me. So major props to anyone building your own shaders. That's super cool.
It's just all math.
I know.
The coding for shaders is actually some of the purest coding that there is, I find, because yeah, it is all that your only consideration is really the math, translating those inputs like the positions and colors and everything into basically a pixel color.
Really does go a lot faster now.
Oh yeah, this is the level that the ally ship starts making his appearance again.
Awesome. And is this also when? So this is when the components start becoming introduced.
Yes.
Is there a tutorial element on that, or is that just something the player gets to figure out?
It's just something they get to figure out.
Okay.
Like the initial game state, like if you go to visit the hangar, it'll tell you like you need components in order to come here, and then once you get your first component, then that will unlock. So,
Gotcha.
and I'm not sure if you noticed or not, but like when you can actually buy a ship part, that icon for the hangar will pulsate.
Okay. I hadn't noticed that, but that's great. Just missed it. There are some other things that you start to get to in the late game also that I haven't gotten to unlock in terms of the ship parts and components, right?
Yes. Well, once you unlock all the ship parts, components don't have much use. So to sort that out, I kind of created a interesting mini game at the end. Again, playing on the theme of like multi-generational progress and such. You have the innovation lab, where now you can take the ship components and combine them in all kinds of new interesting ways to earn points that translate into prestige when you retire. So it becomes, once you get all your ship parts, it becomes like something else interesting to do with components, and an additional way, like a way to speed up earning of prestige.
Because that kind of late game, that really becomes your primary concern.
Yeah. Yeah, in fact, I don't know if you've noticed, but in the Steam friends list, the game does show your progress, and it shows it in terms of what current level you're on and what's your overall prestige that you've earned.
Gotcha. Yeah, that is such a cool little tool. Like, I've noticed more and more games starting to use that. Yeah, that's a neat tool. I play a lot of Deep Rock Galactic, and it's fun to sort of pop on, and you can see that it has like, your friend is in this mission with this many people, and if it's like only 2 other people, then you could jump on and play with them. It's a cool way to get some insight into other people and their progress or their current game state. That's really neat. Yeah, so I guess I have a pulsing. What I have that I could get. Don't have that one. That one.
Yeah, it'd be your warp trail.
Yeah, okay. Warp trail and engine glow.
Yep.
I think I did actually pick up one of these at one point.
It looks like you have the
quantum one. Yeah. I need to get a point so I can upgrade my laser. Oh wow! I didn't even realize there were decals. Shooting moons. I love it. What else we got? This like, I can't even tell what that is. Little like
Saturn.
Oh, Saturn. There it is. Of course, and it said it. I was looking at the image without actually reading the thing. Hearts, diamonds, clubs, spades, of course. Peace symbols. I love it. Probably want to shoot moons. That would make sense. But I gotta get another an eye, and definitely gonna go with purple. Got a kind of a purple theme going here. The paint job too. I gotta get that deep purple paint job. Wow, that is. These are really nice.
Yeah, that was another thing I overhauled because the ship color schemes in the old version, they were crap, honestly. So in the intervening years, I've learned a lot about color design and everything, so I was able to apply that.
That's
a good deal here.
Let's see here. Get some dimensional storage. Some subspace payloads. Make it all the way back up to Insanji again. And if you have any other fun tidbits that you'd love to share, we'd love to hear it. Not just about like the game itself, but like baking the game. Oop, that's it. There was a special charm to trying to navigate through this on the mobile, though.
Yeah, I just, yeah. The tilt controls, I mean, they seem like a really good idea. And then, like, yeah, it just came down to when I was, like, after I had implemented this on Steam, and I'd play it on both mobile, I'd play it on Steam, and I'd be like, why would I ever play the mobile version if I have both?
I had a little bit of a similar experience.
That was kind of a big factor in my decision to retire the mobile version.
I tell you
that, and the other deciding factor was like all the like the bloom and the UI effects and everything were really expensive on mobile.
It wasn't my letter I, but oh well.
But it was an F, which is like one of the rarer ones. But yeah, the stuff that the ally drops is not entirely random.
Okay.
So it drops based on need. So, like, if your shields are completely full, you won't see it drop any shield pickups. Likewise, if you're like good, like if you've got, I think, like 3 bars of super laser, it won't drop you any super laser either.
And I had none, so it dropped me like 3.
Yeah.
Which I appreciated, actually. That is cool, though. I did wonder how random it was.
And then, like, there's like if you get stuck on a mission, I don't know if you've noticed, but it will start increasing the quantity of items dropped. Turns out I found I found kind of an exploit with that, where if you just kept ditching on a mission, it became pretty easy to farm the Argent debit cards. So I kind of had to tune it down so that, like, none of the drops besides the first 3 would be the debit card drops. So the only things that'll drop you for this 4th and on drops up until it drops the component are laser and shield.
Gosh.
So I guess that's the one exception to the rule. If it's dropping more than 3, even if you're full up on shield and super laser, the 4th drops on will be shield or super laser, just to prevent that exploit.
All right. This is one of my favorite music tracks. You know what could be really fun is we set up 2 computers with like first level, or at least equivalent level characters. Copy a save or something, and then have people race Insanji or. That could be fun.
Yeah.
There was one playthrough I did where I invested heavily in molecular compression, which just reduces your ship size, for those of you who don't know. Well, it reduces your hitbox anyway, right?
Yeah, and the actual, like, the visible size on the screen, too.
Okay. Yeah, and that was a fun direction to take it in.
Yeah, I give the optimal magnifier to kind of balance that, because one of the downsides of that one, the molecular compressor, is it can make it harder to nab the pickups.
Yes.
So I give one to kind of counterbalance it to the pickups bigger.
And that was a more recent edition, right? Because I feel like
Yes.
I played a version of this that didn't have that.
Yeah, it was one of the last ones to be added.
And even when not going the super like molecular compression route, I still found that to be really useful. I was like hitting them. And actually, did that cause me to divert slightly? Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Hoping for my letter I. Knocked any of the challenges on these? I think so. Alright.
So now we're starting to roll in the dark matter.
Yeah. You can see I've been pulling in about 30 each time, and so getting up to the words, Caleb. The 250, it would take a little bit, but not terribly long.
Yeah. Well, on my main profile, I've got that one legacy like so high now that most of the fighters drop like 3 dark matter at least, and some drop 4.
Now, I've noticed with fighters, the lasers don't attack those. You have to use missiles.
Right. Yeah, they're too fast. At least that's the theory.
Right.
Too fast, too much hull.
I kind of like that, because it does give you something you have to react to.
Right. And also, there's like a choice. There's like a choice too involved. Like you could get swarmed with fighters, or swarmed with bombers rather, and that like occupies all your lasers. So then all of a sudden you're taking all this damage from hitting asteroids and everything, and you have to wonder, is like, do I use a missile, or do I save it for like some fighters where I can get some dark matter from it?
Yeah, there's a lot of little strategic choices in here. Except for black holes. Black holes are just the worst. So, do you think I should show off any of the special cosmetics, or do you think that they should just have to play it themselves to find out?
Sure, yeah, I mean, those are a lot of fun.
Ugh, no eye. Oh, did I miss it? I think I missed it.
What, the component? No,
Yeah.
you got it.
Did I get it?
Yes. Yeah, one thing that was kind of challenging with the game is the sound design, especially with so many simultaneous sound effects that could potentially be playing. I mean, you have to really pay attention to what frequency ranges you're using for stuff, so that nothing gets totally crushed. And yeah, there was a lot of sounds that I had to like provide some variation on the frequency, not just for like variety to the player, but yeah, to keep it from crushing that area of this frequency spectrum.
See, now I'm out of missiles. That's interesting, thinking about all of the frequency spectrum. That's... And because in a lot of ways, I mean, sound isn't essential. You could play this game without sound. But there's a lot of little sound cues and things that do add a lot.
Like that one.
Like that one. That one's pretty important. You're right. Oh my gosh, I'm in trouble.
Yeah, when you hear those high and low tones, you better start looking.
I know. And the thing is like, I hear them, but then I don't register, I don't run into enough bombs yet that I make the mental connection in my head. And so I still something like, oh no, Bob! Alright. We have enough for one. Let's go with shields. And we got some dark matter. That'll be good. Let's do some shields. More shields. Let's do some more lasers. Yeah, okay. Sure. Okay, and we're gonna back out. We're gonna go to options. Do you think I should do all of them or just one of them?
Yeah, it's not good. Go too crazy at first.
Okay. How about let's do these two. All right. Here we go. To Insanji once again. Watch out for those D20s. They'll get you every time. I feel like this has been an option for a while.
Oh yeah, since the very beginning. Used to be it was always just red dice with white numbers. But with the enhancement, with like all the shader enhancements and everything, I was able to work them into the color themes of the level a lot better in this version. Which with the exception of 0-1 through 10-1, which are based on the old classic Prepare for Warp's level colors, all the other color schemes for the levels are procedurally generated.
Oh, okay. So it's okay. Interesting. Did you just have a button that you just like check procedural colors?
It's just kind of hard coded, like for the first, for level 0 through 10 for the first segment, do a hard coded lookup into a table, and then for the other ones, go through the procedural generation bit.
Gotcha.
And it's got some rules in there, like it'll select like how many chromatic colors it wants, how many monochrome colors it wants, and then it'll follow some rules based on what hues it combines and everything to kind of try to follow good color design.
Did anybody catch that in the stream?
Yeah, the eyeball.
Yes. He's looking at you, kid. I believe.
Yeah, and that kind of.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I believe, if I recall correctly, there was a post made at one point that was just 2 rows of black hole eyeballs on either side.
Yeah, it started out as a joke, and I was like, no, you know what? I'm going to do this for real. And actually, those eyeballs, those I borrowed from The Hoarder 2.
Yes. Speaking of which, would you like to talk about The Hoarder 2 at all?
Sure, absolutely. So The Hoarder 2 has been a long-time project of mine. Now that this is pretty much complete and in maintenance mode, I'm back in active development on The Hoarder 2. And exciting news, I'm not sure what day yet, possibly Wednesday, I will be launching the Coming Soon page for The Hoarder 2 on Steam.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, when I first met you, this probably would have been, well, at the time it was called OGDE, but original GDEX back in 2015. You were in the thick of making that game already at that point.
And actually, yeah, there's quite a bit going on with it. Last month or so, there's been a lot of work on the modability of the game.
Okay, yeah.
So it has a Lua engine behind it. Oh!
Nobody saw that. Kaboom. I suppose I had to show it off at one point, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of those Ignite mines too.
Yeah. Speaking of sound effects, didn't listen to it. Sorry, go on. The Hoarder 2.
Yeah, so like it's got a Lua engine behind it. Right now, the whole database is being defined through Lua at this point, like the whole game database. And I've also got the story event system rewritten to use Lua at this point. And I've got like a mod selection screen done and everything. So yeah, the modding of it has come a really long way. And right now, I'm kind of trying to reach MVP for a closed alpha release. Like it here down the line in hopefully in at most 2 months. So I'm kind of working on some of the main mechanics. The thing I'm working on right now is adding crafting to the game, starting with being able to cook to make your own meals.
Well, that's one of my favorite pastimes.
Yeah, I got a cooking system going where you bring the ingredients and tools to the stove and just kind of put them on the stove top, and then you could just hit cook, and if there's stuff on there that'll make a viable recipe, it'll cook it.
Gotcha.
And if not, it'll tell you, hey, there's something wrong here. Or maybe if it's just something that doesn't, not a good combination of ingredients, hey, maybe it'll just make slop that puts you in a bad mood if you eat it.
What's the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild was the dubious food.
So yeah, I'm kind of adding like some more survival elements into it.
Okay.
Not in terms of combat and everything, but survival in terms of basic adulting, I guess you could say.
The survival that we, actually have to do. Real honest to goodness survival.
Yeah. Because yeah, it's one of the things I want with this game, with the Hoarder 2, is I kind of want to have it be a somewhat of a commentary on modern life, and also to like just kind of gamify a little bit what healthy eating actually does look like and stuff like that. Not to get like not try to get like too preachy about it or anything, but
right.
Like saying, oh, you have to eat healthy, but yeah, there's some bonuses to eating healthy, and if you eat too unhealthily, bad things will happen. But yeah, and there'll be like other elements in the game like that, like situations that you have to deal with, or else they'll fester and get worse on you.
I imagine that there's going to be a big challenge in sort of balancing of all of that. Like,
Yeah.
Not just like with The Hoarder 2, but like any survival game. If you have all of these different mechanical axes and being able to like manage those and balance those, to where they're like the challenge is there, but also the fun is there, and yeah, that's
right.
It's such an art. I feel like. Did it.
There you go.
Yes. All right. Well, excellent. We have made it beyond Insanji. Made export a sphere and anxiety. Let me tell you what. That was absolutely like I really struggled getting past it that first round, but it felt really good when I finally did. Yeah. This has been so much fun. I'm trying to think. Any other additional thoughts that you wanted to share at all?
Yeah, like you were just saying, I mean, just the exhilaration of like getting beyond Insanji that first time, or even as the creator, the game still exhilarates me when I play it. So, and I think that that's kind of what I've taken as a sign that I've got something pretty special going here.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I haven't played it anywhere near as much as you have, but I've played it quite a bit, and I have that same experience. It continues to be just that really satisfying experience, especially like I just kind of plowed through levels 1 through 10, right? It wasn't that hard, but that's because I've advanced beyond. But when I start getting into like 15 to 20, it starts really pushing me, and I have to be a lot more careful about managing my abilities and how many missiles do I have and how many loop-de-loops do I have, and really that goalpost moves, but like you keep running into that wall, and you do keep needing to go back in prestige and then go through it again, and yeah, it's good. Well, obviously, like we don't want to show everything that the whole game has to offer. So, level 11, that's all on you to go out and buy it and play it, because it's great. It's good fun. There's a lot of fun to be had here. It's a really good sit and chill for a minute game. Highly recommend it. We'll go ahead and I will move us out of the here to closing screen. But yeah, just just absolutely a pleasure to get to play this on my own, getting to be here with you, Duke, showing it off. Um, I hope that you all check this game out, pick it up if you haven't. It's a ton of fun, really good for just playing for 10 minutes, getting a break. Grab a cup of coffee, play a couple rounds of Prepare for Warp, and then get back to it. Yeah. So
Yeah,
go ahead.
I was just going to say thank you very much for doing this, Caleb. This has been great, and it's great to have such a wonderful advocate for the game. I mean, you've been one of its biggest fans since I showed it off at Prototype and Play back last fall.
I saw a meme post just on Facebook or something earlier, I think today or last night, and it was, you'll always it will always be a special memory, the first game that you downloaded onto your phone. And that made me think back about, okay, well, what was the very first game that I ever remember putting on my phone? And it's probably not available anymore. And frankly, I can't even quite remember its name. But it was a little mobile game, and you were this little arrow-shaped ship, and you were on a three-dimensional plane. And it was a lot. It wasn't exactly like Prepare for Warp, because it was kind of just, you could infinitely go in any direction. But then what it would do is it would just procedurally generate cubes in front of you, and you had to dodge around the cubes, and you just could move left and right, and that was it. It was just very straightforward, very simple. It kept track of how long, I guess, I don't know if it was, well, it was time, but it was how far you were going, and you only got, like, as soon as you hit the first block, you were done. You had to start over again. It wasn't lives or anything. It was super stripped down. But I have such a, like,
Flappy Bird.
well, a little bit of Flappy Bird. Yeah, that idea. But you could get, like, pretty good at it, and I was like, vroom, vroom, vroom. And I remember during downtime when I was working at the university bookstore, I'd be, like, sitting here, like, dodging things. And it had, like, at a certain point, if you got a certain distance, it would go into this mode where it would kind of, like, create a path of blocks that you had to weave around in. But I just had this thing sitting in the back of my head of this, like, game I had played way back when and had really enjoyed. And the first time I saw Prepare for Warp, like, all of those nostalgia experiences for that game just popped right back, and I was hooked, and I've continued to love it. So you hit all of my nostalgia buttons, Duke.
Nice.
So that's great. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for coming out. Thank you for showing it off. We'll wrap up a little bit early here. Everybody, go off and buy Prepare for Warp. What's it? Prepare. I gotta get the whole title. Prepare for Warp, Unlimited Edition, Beyond Insanji. There we go.
Yes.
And yeah, definitely check it out. I highly recommend. Good vibing experience. Also, a little frustrating at times, which is good. All right.
Yes. Please go out, buy the game, review it. Definitely need more Steam reviews out there. That would certainly help to make the game a success as well.
Yeah, and it is always our pleasure to have members of our community come on here and show off their games that they've launched. It's why we're here. We're here to support all of you, and we love seeing what you do. So yeah, super exciting for yet another COGG game launched and out there in the wild. We'll tune in next month. Don't know at this point what we'll be playing. If you have a game that you have launched that you would like to show off, please get in touch with me. You can message me on our Discord, or you can email at us at info@thecogg, the COGG.com. Also our website, the COGG, THECOGG.com. Check us out. We've got resources and links there. Very awesome active Discord community. I mean, there have been I've seen you Duke are on there all the time. We've got this great dev help channel where people are posting questions and people are diving into the nitty gritty of building things. The art community is amazing. We see new, beautiful, incredible art all the time. So yeah, really cool active community. It's growing all the time. So jump on in and participate, and we'd love to see you on the Discord. So
I wonder how many of the requests for that next for the next Let's Play will be for Cult of the Lamb.
wait, sorry, what is this one?
Cult of the Lamb. Oh, that's the one that's taking everything by storm right now.
Oh, okay. I'll have to take a note of that. I'm always interested in.
It sold like 1 million copies in its first week.
My goodness.
I think I'm quoting that right.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the recommendation. I will take a look at it and we'll see.
Yeah, I've not actually picked it up yet, but I'm getting curious about it, seeing everybody else.
Cool. Yeah, I've got it pulled up here. I will take a look at it after the stream. All right. Well, as always, thank you so much for coming out. We will be in touch about the next events coming up. We just had a in-person Let's Play, not last Friday, but 2 Fridays ago. Maybe it was more Fridays ago. I don't know. August has been crazy. August is a crazy month. Every school starts and it's just crazy. And we've got the game dev meetup coming at the end of the month. And stay tuned for more information as we look through the planning and logistics of hosting a future online prototype and plays in not in lieu of in person, but in addition to in person. So all right, well, that's all we have. That's a wrap. Thank you, Duke, for coming out. It's been great.
Thank you for hosting me. This has been wonderful.
Awesome. All right, well, with that, that's Caleb and Duke signing out from COGG. Cheers.
Bye.